Have you ever seen strawberries growing up instead of out and wondered if it was just a social media trick? Most gardeners believe strawberries can only sprawl across the ground, sending runners everywhere and taking over beds. But here's the truth many never learn. Strawberries can be trained to grow vertically, producing more fruit in less space, staying cleaner, healthier, and more productive than traditional ground-grown plants. Climbing strawberries aren't a gimmick. They're the result of understanding how strawberries actually grow and how runners can be redirected upward. With the right setup, strawberries develop stronger runners, better airflow, fewer diseases, cleaner fruit, and longer harvests. In this video, you'll learn exactly how to grow strawberries as climbers, step by step, using simple materials and proven methods. Whether you're gardening in a backyard, on a balcony, or in containers, this approach turns small spaces into high-yield strawberry walls. Once you grow strawberries this way, you'll never go back. 1. Understand what climbing strawberries really are. Strawberries are not true climbers like grapes, beans, or cucumbers, and that distinction is important. They don't twist, grab, or latch onto structures on their own. Instead, strawberries rely on a different and incredibly powerful survival strategy: runners. These runners are long, flexible stems that grow out from the mother plant, stretching across the ground in search of new places to root and expand the colony. In the wild, this growth habit allows strawberries to spread quickly, covering large areas of soil and outcompeting other plants. Each runner carries small nodes along its length, and every node has the potential to become a full, independent strawberry plant. Left alone, these runners sprawl horizontally, creating dense ground cover. Vertical growing doesn't fight this instinct, it redirects it. When you introduce a trellis, frame, tower, or vertical support, you're simply giving the runners a new path to follow. Instead of crawling across the soil, they move upward. The plant doesn't know it's climbing, it only knows it's expanding. This is why climbing strawberries work so well. You're working with the plant's biology, not against it. This mindset shift is critical. Many gardeners fail with vertical strawberries because they try to force the plant into a climbing role it doesn't naturally have. The goal is not to make strawberries behave like vines, but to guide their natural spreading behavior into three-dimensional space. Once you understand this, everything else becomes easier. 2. Choose the right strawberry varieties for vertical growth. Variety selection is the foundation of successful climbing strawberries. Even the best structure, soil, and care won't compensate for the wrong genetics. Not all strawberries are designed for continuous growth, and vertical systems demand plants that can multitask, growing, spreading, and fruiting at the same time. The strongest candidates are everbearing and day-neutral strawberries. Everbearing strawberries produce fruit in multiple waves throughout the season. Instead of putting all their energy into one massive harvest, they alternate between leaf growth, runner production, flowering, and fruiting. This rhythm makes them well-suited to vertical systems, where you want ongoing harvest rather than a single short window. Day-neutral strawberries go even further. These plants are not triggered by day length, which means they continue flowering and fruiting whenever temperatures are favorable. As long as conditions remain mild, day-neutral strawberries will keep producing berries while also sending out runners. This makes them the gold standard for climbing systems, especially in containers, balconies, and greenhouses. June-bearing strawberries behave very differently. They're programmed to deliver one heavy harvest per year, usually in late spring or early summer. After that, their focus shifts almost entirely to vegetative growth, producing leaves and runners rather than fruit. While this makes them excellent for rapid expansion, it limits their usefulness in vertical systems where consistent production is the goal. They can climb, but they won't reward you with berries for most of the season. When selecting varieties, look for plants described as vigorous runner producers, continuous or extended fruiting, suitable for containers or small spaces. These traits indicate a balanced energy system, strong enough to climb upward while still producing flowers and fruit. The right variety doesn't just grow better vertically, it reduces stress, lowers maintenance, and dramatically increases total yield over time. With the correct genetics, climbing strawberries stop being an experiment and become a reliable, repeatable growing system. When you start with the right plants, you're no longer asking if strawberries can grow vertically. You're simply deciding how high you want them to go. 3. Choose and build a strong vertical structure. Climbing strawberries depend entirely on the structure you give them. Unlike true climbing plants, strawberries won't grab or wrap on their own. They rely on you to guide and support their growth. That means the structure doesn't need to be complicated, but it does need to be stable, open, and thoughtfully designed. The best vertical structures share one key quality. They allow runners to move upward naturally while keeping plants healthy and accessible. Excellent structure options include vertical trellises made from wood or metal, wire panels or cattle panels, wooden ladder-style frames, fences with open spacing, strawberry towers or stackable planters, balcony railings and privacy screens, greenhouse walls or interior frames. You can build a highly effective structure from simple materials. Many gardeners use recycled wood, wire fencing, or even old shelving units. What matters is not appearance, but function. A good structure must allow three things. First, airflow. Strawberries are highly susceptible to fungal disease when air is stagnant. Vertical systems already concentrate plants into a smaller footprint, so air movement becomes even more important. Open designs allow wind to move freely through leaves and flowers, drying moisture quickly after rain or watering. Second, accessibility. You need to reach runners easily. As runners grow, you'll be tying, guiding, pruning, and sometimes rooting them into pockets or containers. If your structure is too tight or too rigid, maintenance becomes frustrating, and neglected runners lead to tangled, unproductive growth. Third, light penetration. Every level of the structure must receive light. Avoid solid walls or opaque surfaces that block sun from lower plants. Open grids, wire panels, or slatted frames allow sunlight to reach multiple layers throughout the day, ensuring even fruit production from top to bottom. Height plays a major role in productivity. Even a modest structure, like just 3 to 5 feet tall, can multiply yield per square meter compared to ground beds. Vertical height creates new growing space without expanding the footprint. As runners climb and root higher, you effectively stack multiple strawberry plants in the same area. Taller structures increase production even more, but stability becomes critical. The structure must handle the combined weight of plants, fruit, and moisture without tipping or collapsing. Always anchor frames securely into the ground or attach them firmly to walls or railings. A strong structure doesn't just hold strawberries up, it shapes airflow, light, health, and long-term productivity. 4. Prepare the base plants and root zone properly. The success of climbing strawberries is decided at ground level. No matter how beautiful the structure looks, vertical systems fail when the base plants are weak. Every runner, flower, and berry depends on the health of the original root system. If roots struggle, the entire vertical system collapses. Whether you're planting directly in the ground, in raised beds, or in containers, soil quality is non-negotiable. Strawberries require loose, crumbly soil, excellent drainage, high organic matter, consistent moisture without waterlogging. Compacted soil restricts roots, limits nutrient uptake, and holds water too long. In vertical systems, poor drainage is amplified because gravity pulls excess water downward, often drowning the base plant while upper sections dry out. At the base of your structure, spacing is critical. Each strawberry plant needs room to breathe and grow. Space plants 12 to 18 inches apart, even if that feels generous at first. Crowding leads to poor airflow, increased disease pressure, smaller berries, weaker runner production. Vertical systems rely on healthy runner output. If the base plant is stressed or crowded, runner production slows, and the entire climbing concept fails. Mulching the base is essential. Apply a thick layer of straw, pine needles, or shredded leaves around each plant. Mulch regulates soil temperature, retains moisture, prevents soil, splash on leaves, suppresses weeds that steal nutrients. Root zone stability directly affects flowering and fruiting. Heat-stressed or dry roots signal the plant to reduce reproduction. Cool, evenly moist roots encourage continuous flowering and runner growth. Think of the base plant as the engine of your vertical system. Strong roots push energy upward. Weak roots stop everything above them. When the root zone is prepared correctly, climbing strawberries don't struggle. They surge upward, multiply, and turn vertical space into a living wall of fruit. 5. Position for maximum sunlight. When strawberries grow vertically, sunlight stops being just important and becomes the main driver of success. Vertical systems stack plants on top of each other, which means light distribution is never even by default. If the structure is poorly positioned, the top plants may thrive while the lower ones struggle, or the entire system may underperform. Strawberries need at least 6 to 8 hours of direct sunlight every day to flower and fruit consistently. More light almost always translates into better yields, stronger runner growth, and sweeter berries. The ideal placement allows sunlight to hit the structure from multiple angles throughout the day. South-facing or southwest-facing locations are usually best, especially in temperate climates. Morning sun is particularly valuable because it dries dew quickly, reducing disease pressure, while afternoon sun drives sugar production in developing fruit. Avoid placing vertical systems directly against solid walls that block half the day's light, in narrow alleys or corners where sun reaches only one side. Under tree canopies or roof overhangs if possible, leave space behind the structure so sunlight can reach both the front and sides. Even partial backlighting improves lower-level productivity. Poor light conditions lead to predictable problems. Flower production drops dramatically, runners become thin and weak, fruit remains small, pale, and acidic. Plants stretch toward light instead of producing berries. Strong light does the opposite. Plants stay compact, runners thicken, flowering increases, and berries develop deeper color and higher sugar content. Light is not just energy, it's information. It tells strawberries when to grow, when to flower, and how much fruit they can support. A well-lit vertical strawberry system doesn't just grow upward, it produces evenly from bottom to top. 6. Allow runners to grow, do not cut them. This step requires a mental shift, especially for gardeners trained in traditional strawberry care. In ground systems, removing runners makes sense. It concentrates energy into fruiting rather than spreading. But climbing strawberries are a completely different system. Here, runners are not a distraction. They are the mechanism that makes vertical growth possible. Cutting runners too early is the fastest way to sabotage a vertical strawberry setup. Runners are how strawberries explore space. They are how new plants are formed. In a climbing system, runners are the structure's lifeblood. Without them, there's no vertical expansion, no layered production, and no increase in yield per square meter. When runners first appear, let them grow freely. Do not prune them. Allow them to extend until they naturally reach your support structure. During this stage, the plant is investing energy into exploration, deciding where it can safely expand. If runners are cut at this point, vertical growth stops completely. Energy is wasted on repeated runner attempts. Overall productivity drops. Once runners have length and strength, they become manageable, but until they reach your structure, patience is critical. The goal is not endless runners everywhere. The goal is purposeful runners that climb. 7. Guide runners. Upward, gently. Once runners reach the structure, your role changes from observer to guide. Strawberry runners are flexible but delicate. They respond best to slow, gentle direction rather than force. Pulling, twisting, or sharply bending runners causes stress and often damages the vascular tissue inside the stem. Use soft materials for tying, garden twine, fabric strips, soft plant ties, clips designed for vines. Never use thin wire, zip ties, or anything that can tighten over time. Runners thicken as they grow, and tight ties will cut into the stem, reducing nutrient flow or killing the runner entirely. Tie runners loosely. The goal is support, not restraint. Leave room for movement, growth, and slight swaying in the wind. Natural movement strengthens plant tissue and improves airflow. Guide runners gradually upward, following the structure's natural lines. If a runner resists a direction, don't fight it. Redirect it slowly over several days. Strawberries adapt quickly when given time. Think of guiding runners like training a vine, not controlling a machine. When runners are guided correctly, nodes develop evenly. New plants establish more easily, stress is minimized. Vertical growth becomes stable and predictable. Gentle guidance creates a system that grows with you, not against you, turning runners into the backbone of a productive, climbing strawberry wall. 8. Decide how each runner will be used. Each runner gives you a choice. You control the system. Option 1. Root runners into pockets or containers attached to the structure. Attach small pots, fabric pockets, mesh baskets, or planter boxes at different heights. Fill them with soil. When a runner reaches a pocket, gently pin the node onto the soil surface. Within days, it begins forming roots. Once established, this new plant becomes a permanent part of your vertical system. Option 2. Let runners hang freely. In wall systems or towers, runners can hang down and still flower and fruit. Hanging strawberries stay clean, dry faster after rain, and experience less pest pressure. Many successful growers use both methods, rooting some runners for structure and letting others hang for fast fruit production. 9. Manage watering carefully in vertical systems. Water management is one of the biggest differences between ground-grown and climbing strawberries. In vertical systems, gravity is always working against you. Water naturally flows downward, which means the lower root zone often stays moist, while upper runner pockets dry out much faster. This uneven moisture is one of the main reasons vertical strawberry systems fail if watering isn't adjusted. The goal is consistent moisture at every root point, not just the base. Water deeply and slowly so moisture has time to penetrate the soil instead of running straight through. Focus on the main root zone at the base of the structure. Any runner nodes that have been rooted into pockets, containers, or fabric planters, upper pockets often need more frequent attention than the base. Check them regularly by touch. If the soil feels dry an inch below the surface, it's time to water. Avoid overhead watering at all costs. Wet leaves and flowers are a perfect invitation for fungal diseases such as gray mold and powdery mildew. In vertical setups, moisture can linger longer on foliage due to uneven airflow, increasing the risk even further. Drip irrigation systems are ideal because they deliver water slowly and directly to the soil where it's needed. If watering by hand, use a slow, controlled pour at the soil level, rather than spraying from above. Consistency matters more than volume. Strawberries respond poorly to cycles of drought followed by heavy soaking. Even moisture keeps plants flowering, runners growing, and fruit developing evenly. 10. Mulch the base to control stress. Mulch is not optional in climbing strawberry systems. It's protective armor for the roots. Vertical growing exposes plants to greater temperature swings. Soil at the base heats up faster during the day and cools more rapidly at night. These fluctuations stress strawberry roots, and stressed roots mean fewer flowers and smaller berries. Apply a generous layer of organic mulch around the base plants. Straw, pine needles, shredded leaves, or dried grass clippings all work well. Mulch provides multiple benefits at once. It stabilizes soil temperature, reduces moisture loss from evaporation, protects shallow strawberry roots, suppresses competing weeds, keeps soil structure loose and healthy. Most importantly, mulch keeps roots calm. Calm roots support steady growth, consistent flowering, and better fruit quality. When roots overheat or dry out, strawberries shift into survival mode and stop producing. A well-mulched base acts like an anchor for the entire vertical system, feeding, cooling, and stabilizing everything growing above it. When watering and mulching are done right, climbing strawberries stop struggling and start performing, producing cleaner fruit, stronger runners, and longer harvests with less effort from you.